The scale is, there are two semitones. I mean, instead of the natural scale, we have the second note is just a semitone away from the main playing reference note, which is the sa. It's called re komal. And then the sixth note is again from pa. It's the next note to pa. It's the sixth note on the scale, which is also a komal or a flat note, which is just a semitone away from the fifth note, which is the pa. So it's sa, re, komal, ga, shud, ma, shud, pa, dha, komal, ni, shud, and the higher sa. And sa, ni, dha, pa, ma, ga, re, sa with the dha, komal, and re, komal. So that is the scale of Bhairav, Shuddh Bhairav. आप सबकी इजाजत से
Well, now that you've heard Noor Zahra play, I'd like to ask her a few questions about her own training. And for me, in fact, personally, it's a very, very moving experience because I first met her in 1971. 71. And when she was this strip of a girl who would come with her Veena in a very different incarnation, and where she met with a lady called Rajeshwari Datta at the School of Oriental and African Studies, and she was also learning Sanskrit to all know about the depths and the theory of the music. So I think, and I'm going to call her Bibli because it's a bit difficult for me to call her Noor Zahra, so do forgive us if we go into this familiar territory. So Bibli, if you could please tell us a little bit first about how you started learning in Lahore, Raza's search for the sound, which started it all.
Right.
So if you tell us a little bit about your first starts and then what took you to London and then you made a journey to the States as well.
Right, right. I'd love to share that with everyone. I think I began by telling them about how we started learning Indian music, classical music, by when Raza put all four of us, onto learning the sitar and learning vocal music. Bela and Veena were learning vocal music from one teacher. As you know, this who normally that was the way one learned, that they used to come at home, and there was one teacher who was teaching one or more people who were learning from him. So he was teaching vocal and instrumental both at that time. So that's how we started. I think I played the sitar for about a year or so, and then I moved on to the sur bahar because I was more inclined towards the non-rhythmic part of the art music, which is the alap, and Bela was more inclined towards the gut, which is the rhythmic part. And so Raza was, of course, being the way he is, inquiring, searching, he thought I should switch from the sitar to the sur bahar. So yes, it was much better. I had more room for self-expression. But learning, as far as learning was concerned, I think it was restricted by the teacher who came and taught us. He could not make us, they had to adhere to what we wanted to learn, and that pattern still continues at home, where people come and teach at home, that what the student demands, that's the fault of our method of learning. And so I did not go through the grill of learning Indian classical music, which you have to go through in order to get the notes right, the rhythm right. So
just tell us a little bit about what you mean by the grill and the difference, and because say that if you
yes.
mean in an Ustad Shagir relationship.
But that did not happen with the first teacher because he was willing to, compromise. The grill is basically where you have to do hours and hours of repetitive practice in order to grasp one note or one tal or a structure which we call a bandish, and in a given rhythm, at a certain tempo. So that was, and for that, a beginner has to break it up into different parts, whether they are just the notes or those phrases or those rhythmic patterns within the tal framework. So that has to, by grill, that is what is meant, that you go on repeating them till you grasp them, till they become part of your memory, and your hands just follow. Something like I'm speaking, the words just come out when you need them. It's like that. So I did not go through that grade at all. And I think by the time I put in about 2-3 years of learning, I think maybe I'd become indisciplined enough because when I did go through the grill, which was in 74, when I came back from the United States and England, I realized that it was very tough, it was very difficult, it was literally I thought I was losing my balance, because it was that was Ustad Sharif Khan, the late Ustad Muhammad Sharif Khan Punchwali, who wanted me to perfect the notes, and he would also come at home and teach, and for 3 hours he would not make me move from one note to another. Over there, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, the famous sarod player, the late Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, he had come to perform, and of course, enthusiastically, I took the instrument to him and I said, would you please, direct me, teach me, give me some guidance. So he says that he listened to the instrument and he said that yes, you can learn, but you'll have to come to California, where I have a school of music. So Raza was, of course, very sort of happily, I mean, he sent me at whatever cost, he knows. It must have, I mean, he had, I think, six children at that time, and all growing up, and Raza being Raza, it must have been a tremendous, financial pressure on him, but nonetheless, he sent me. I was there for 2 terms, and it was more of an experience, or which I absorbed rather than I learned anything. I had 3 or 4 personal lessons from Ustad Ali Akbar Khan at his house. I kept one. I took 2 instruments, and as I was recalling that day that we went in a chartered plane because they were cheaper at that time, and Raza had sent me to accompany me because I turned 18 at Ali Akbar College. So I could not travel alone at that time. So I took these 2 instruments, and they went in 4 boxes. So in a chartered plane, where we did not even have proper, seats to sit on. And but still, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. So over there, of course, I witnessed how the Americans learned music. Though they had that persevering, hard working, and just breaking things, analyzing, I mean, on the practical level of doing it, and then mastering each and every bit of it, and even writing down our music, which we could not do. And next week coming and playing much better than even, I mean, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahab used to forget what he taught, and they remembered because they could write down, and they could back it up with hours and hours of practice within a week.